What is up, everybody? Welcome to DFS by the numbers. These are my full card breakdown and predictions for UFC 279. We have Khamzat Chimaev going against Nate Diaz.
I need all the wins, yeah. Harder than all that is. You better move, you might get knocked out. Knocked out. You better move, you might get knocked out. Knocked out. You better move, you might get knocked out. Knocked out.
And we are back for another full card breakdown and prediction video. This week breaking down UFC 279. We have a 13 fight card, and it's not the best pay-per-view in the world, I'd say, especially if you compare it to UFC 280 next month, UFC 281, which are going to be phenomenal. But I am looking forward to this card. We have the main event, Khamzat Chimaev, Nate Diaz, should be fun as long as it lasts. We have the Leech, Tony Ferguson, great fight, Kevin Hall and Rodriguez, Ian Cutelaba, Johnny Walker. That's all on the main card. I'm looking forward to all those. And on the prelims, we have some really good fights. Hakeem, Dawodu, Julian, Erosa is going to be a war, and always looking forward to some Jailton, Almeida going against the pleasure man, Anton, Turkalj. So there are some very good fights on this card. Is it worth the $75? Potentially not, but I am looking forward to it nonetheless. I have a couple bets, liking a lot of spots, so definitely looking forward to the card as a whole, looking forward to break it down for you guys here. As you guys may have know or don't know, I have been dealing with COVID. It's been a rough week and a half. Just have not been able to get a ton done. Usually Saturday and Sunday is a big day for me in terms of the research. Literally did nothing all day Saturday and was able to get it a little bit done Sunday, but I've been pretty behind. I am starting to feel better, but yeah, typically do not like getting videos out late on a Thursday. This is probably the latest I've got a video out in years. I mean, it's been usually like to get it out on a Monday. So hopefully next week we're back on track. I'm feeling better. So that is good. This is a pay-per-view card. So as always, we're going to be doing the significant strike contest. Kind of a tough one this week though. We have Khamzat Chimaev, Nate Diaz. To enter that contest, first, leave a like on the video. Second, subscribe to the channel if you are not already. And then third, comment down how many significant strikes you think that Khamzat Chimaev and Nate Diaz are going to combine for. $25 the first. If there is a tie, the tiebreaker does go to the person that commented first. They're curious to hear these answers because this is a pretty tough one this week. Other than that, if you want extra content, be sure to check out dfsbythenumbers.com. Lots going on over there. I am in the process of finishing my full card article, which typically comes out on Wednesdays. Like I said, I'm about a day behind with everything. On that full card article, I break down the entire card. It's like 15 pages. I give my prediction. I give my confidence rating. I give my best bet for the fight, and I do that for all the fights. And then I also do another betting article that usually comes out on Friday where I break down my actual bets. And then I also do a prelim parlay, a main card parlay, and a Hail Mary parlay. And I actually hit all three of those last week. So hopefully do that again. That'd be fun. But yeah, lots of other content. So be sure to check out dfsbythenumbers.com if you are not already on there. All right. I say we get right into it, guys. Last thing, live stream Friday, 7 o'clock, and then Saturday best bet. So make sure you are subscribed so not miss out on all of that. But now that we got all of that out of the way, I say we get into it here. We'll start with the first fight of the night. We have Darian Weeks going against Yohan Lainesse. We have Darian Weeks, 28 years old, 5'11", with a 72-inch reach, 5-2 and 3-2 in his last 5 fights. Yohan Lainesse, he is 30 years old, 6'1", with a 76-inch reach, 8-1 and 4-1 in his last 5 fights. Let us take a look at the odds here. We see that Darian Weeks opened up as a plus 130 dog, currently minus 117. Lainesse opened up minus 150, currently minus 103. And I actually really like what I see. I'll say a lot of things of what I see from Yohan Lainesse. There's just a big gaping hole in his game, and that gaping hole is the cardio, the conditioning. I mean, the guy is... He's looking tired, like in the first round, like a couple minutes go by, his mouth is already wide open. He's looking sluggish in there in that late first, second round, and he was talking about how he really put a focus, like an emphasis on his conditioning in his last fight against Gabe Green, and I believe him. I think he has, but against Gabe Green kind of just broke him in there. In that second round, late second round, Lainesse looked like he had nothing left. He did drop Gabe Green very bad in the second round. Gabe Green just got back up, which was pretty funny there. I thought he was completely done, but he just instantly popped back up. And then after, there was like a little scramble, and once it got back to range, I mean, Lainesse just backed up to the cage. He had nothing left. He looked done, and Gabe Green got off some body shots, and Lainesse just folded in that late second round. So although I do like a lot of parts of Lainesse's game, I think he has a ton of power. Very, very powerful. I think he has some wrestling as well that's solid. It's just, I can't pick a guy that is not going to be able to go a hard 15 minutes. And I do think this is going to be a fast-paced fight against Darian Weeks, who is, 7 fights as a pro. But, Weeks does have a lot of amateur fights. I want to say, don't know the number off the top of my head, but it's almost like 20 amateur fights. The guy's been, very experienced pro and amateur combined. And you take a look at those pro and amateur fights combined, and the guy's never been knocked out. So he's shown a very good chin. In and outside the UFC. He was taking shots from Bryan Barberena. He was taking shots from Ian Gary. The guy is very, very tough, and I think that's going to come into play here. On top of that, his cardio is very good. He took the Bryan Barberena fight, I think on like a couple days short notice, and he came in there. I was expecting him to gas out after a round, but no, his cardio held up a lot better than I expected, and he was pushing a very high pace as well. He actually outlanded Bryan Barberena, and that was a very, very close fight. But yeah, I like a lot of, really both these guys, but Darian Weeks is going to have the cardio advantage. I think that's significant. I think he's going to have the wrestling advantage. I think he has the better takedown defense here, and as long as he survives that first round, he should very well take over and win this fight. But Lainesse hits like a truck. He's going to have opportunities to finish Darian Weeks, but I am relying on that toughness, on that durability that Weeks has shown. And I will say Weeks does weather that early storm and either gets a late finish or wins a decision here. So I'll take Darian Weeks. I'll say by decision, but I think the third round finish is definitely on the table. All right, next we have Elise Reed going against Melissa Martinez. Melissa Martinez, she is 25 years old, 5'2" with a 64-inch reach. She is 7-0 and 5-0 in her last 5 fights. Elise Reed, 29 years old, 5'3" with a 63-inch reach, 5-2 and 3-2 in her last 5 fights. Melissa Martinez opened up minus 252 for some reason, and she is now minus 175. Elise Reed opened up plus 212. She is currently plus 150. This is a tough fight to call. If you guys have been watching me for a while and heard my breakdowns, I am probably one of the biggest, if not the biggest, Elise Reed hater. I'm not a big fan of her. I think she has a lot of holes in her game. I think her takedown defense is very bad. I think her ground game is very bad. Luckily, that's not something Melissa Martinez is going to exploit. We saw Elise Reed, when she's not having success in the UFC, it's her getting taken down. We saw Eubanks take her down and finish her shortly after. We saw Corey McKenna when she had success in that fight. It was because Corey McKenna took her down. And then we saw Sam Hughes. When Sam Hughes was having success, it was because Elise Reed was getting taken down. Her ground game is a liability. The thing is with Melissa Martinez, I've never seen her shoot a takedown. I watched her whole career. Maybe she shot one takedown, but that's not her game. And actually, that's what Melissa Martinez struggles with. Melissa Martinez struggles with getting taken down. She struggles with the ground game. So when you look at Elise Reed, her big weakness is the ground game, and that's just not something Melissa Martinez does. But the reason this fight is so tough to call is because there's a big question mark here. The question mark is, Melissa Martinez, she has not fought in it's almost 3 years. It's been like 1,006 days, over 1,000 days since we've last seen Melissa Martinez fight. And in that fight, I wasn't really impressed. I actually thought she lost her last fight. It was very close, could have went either way. And she has not fought the best competition. She has not fought in a very, very long time. Whereas Elise Reed, like I said, I'm not high on her, but she has fought the much better competition, and it's not even close. Lost to Sam Hughes, beat Corey McKenna, lost to Ciara Eubanks. She beat Jasmine Jazz the Vicious. She has some good wins outside the UFC as well. So Elise Reed, she's the more active fighter by a good margin. We've not seen Melissa Martinez in a very long time. Elise Reed has fought the better competition, and it's not even close. Elise Reed struggles with the ground game. That's not something Melissa Martinez is going to exploit here. This fight is going to stay on the feet. And if it does, it's going to be very close. Elise Reed, her striking is very solid. She has very good, distance management. She's able to stay on the outside. We are in the big cage here, which does favor someone like Elise Reed. I think this fight's going to be very, very close. But how has Melissa Martinez improved after that 3-year layoff? Is there going to be, ring rust with Melissa Martinez? There's some question marks, right? You got to imagine Melissa Martinez has made some improvements, but we don't know. We haven't seen those improvements. From what I've seen, I think this is a super close fight. So I'm going to take the dog here in Elise Reed to get it done. I think it's going to be a very, very close and competitive fight. And I'm going to say Elise Reed wins this one by decision. But, I mean, Melissa Martinez, she could have took that 3-year layoff. She could come back and look leveled up. Maybe she does take down Elise Reed. Maybe she does all of a sudden have a wrestling game and dominates Elise Reed on the mat. It's just we haven't seen any of that. So give me the dog here in Elise Reed. The line, it makes no sense unless you're really banking on those Martinez improvements. All right, next we have Chad Anheliger going against Alateng Heili. We have Alateng Heili, who is 30 years old, 5'5", with a 66.5-inch reach, 15-8-2, and 3-1-1 in his last 5 fights. Chad Anheliger, 35 years old, 5'6", with a 64-inch reach, 12-5 and 5-0 in his last 5 fights. We'll take a look at the odds here. We do have Alateng Heili as a favorite. He opened at minus 255 for some reason. Currently minus 159. Chad Anheliger opened up plus 215. And he's currently plus 139. And I am not falling for this trap. I fall for this trap quite a lot. And I think it's a mistake a lot of people make, and rightfully so. You have somebody in Alateng Heili who has a clear path to victory. It is clear as day. Where does Anheliger struggle? He struggles with the takedown defense. He's been taken down a lot throughout his career. He's been submitted 5 times. Even in the UFC and on the Contender Series, he's got taken down 4 times by Jesse Strader. He got taken down 5 times by Gafarov. If you're Alateng Heili, you get this fight down to the mat. Alateng Heili does have a wrestling background, and he does hit very hard. The problems with Alateng Heili is, 1, he doesn't use that wrestling as much as he should. In the last 3 fights, he has 0 takedowns. In the last 3 fights, I think he has maybe 1 takedown attempt. So we're counting on a guy who doesn't wrestle to wrestle here, and I think that is could be a big mistake. And even when Alateng Heili does choose to wrestle, he only has a 33% takedown accuracy. And another thing that really caught my eye is, yes, Anheliger's getting taken down. He got taken down by Jesse Strader 4 times. He got taken down by Gafarov 5 times. He won both of those fights. So, I think Alateng Heili has the path to victory, and that path to victory is to wrestle, but A, can we count on him to do it? Not really. And B, if he does do it, is he going to have enough success to win the fight? Because on the feet, honestly, it's Anheliger all day. And the reason being is because, 1, Anheliger has a ton of power. Both guys do, but Anheliger has a ton of power. He's shown a ton of power. 3 knockdowns in 2 fights for Anheliger. And the other reason is Alateng Heili just doesn't throw anything on the feet. He only lands 2.86 significant strikes per minute. He's absorbing 5.07. That is a negative significant strike differential of 2.21. He's getting outlanded by a ton of strikes. I think Anheliger is a very live dog here. I don't trust Alateng Heili to come in here with a good game plan. If he does, the path to victory is there. But even if he does, I still feel like this is going to be a close fight. So I'm going to take another dog here. I'm going to take the dog shot on Chad Anheliger in terms of a pick. I don't know if I'm going to bet it yet. Looks like some money is coming in on Anheliger here, but I just don't trust in Alateng Heili to go out there and wrestle. So give me Chad Anheliger to win. I'll say he wins by decision. All right, next we have Norma Dumont going against Danyelle Wolf. We have Dumont, 31 years old, 5'7", with a 67-inch reach, 7-2, and 3-2 in her last 5 fights. Danyelle Wolf, 39 years old, 5'11", 70-inch reach, 1-0, and obviously 1-0 in only 1 professional MMA fight. We have Norma Dumont as a big favorite. Dumont opened up minus 350. She's currently minus 415. Wolf opened up plus 285. She's currently plus 315. And the reason being is because, kind of like the last fight, Norma Dumont has a clear path to victory. And if she takes that path to victory, she's going to look like a minus 2,000 favorite here. It's just, will she take that path to victory? I mean, trusting Norma Dumont at this price tag is just, it's insane because she hasn't really shown the ability to go out there and implement the game plan I would prefer her to implement if she's going to look minus 400, minus 450 in this fight. She has a takedown against Aspen Ladd, which was 25 minutes. She got a takedown against Spencer. She got 2 takedowns against Evan Smith. She got a takedown against Megan Anderson. So she's getting takedowns here, so that's good. But I would like to see a little bit more of it, especially in this fight. I mean, it's simple as this. Norma Dumont, she's been an MMA fighter a lot longer than Danyelle Wolf. Danyelle Wolf has a boxing background. Forget the exact record. I want to say it's like 30-16, like boxing record for Danyelle Wolf. She fought on the Contender Series, which was a while ago. It was like, a year and 11 months ago. And in that fight, she didn't look too good. I mean, she got hurt bad by Tennant in that second round. The third round was competitive. Tennant actually outlanded Wolf 85-51. In that fight, she showed a 44% striking defense. I mean, yes, Wolf has a striking background, but I'm just not impressed. And on top of that, she's 39 years old. She's 39 years old. She has one MMA fight, BJJ white belt. Norma Dumont should take this fight down to the mat and finish the fight shortly after. Norma Dumont, like I said, she's been doing MMA much longer. She's a BJJ brown belt. If she gets on top of Danyelle Wolf, it should, she should finish the fight. I mean, it's simple as that. But if Norma Dumont goes out here and she wants to strike with Danyelle Wolf for 15 minutes, I can tell you right now, she's not going to look minus 450. Could Dumont still win a fight standing for 15 minutes? Sure, I suppose. But she's not going to look minus 450. But I think she'll be smart. I mean, the path to victory is just clear as day. Take down Danyelle Wolf, finish her shortly after. Whether it's grounded pound, whether it's a submission, Dumont should be the much, much better fighter on the mat in theory. So I like Dumont here to win. I like Dumont to win by first round submission. I think the path is there to make this fight look extremely easy, and I'll say she takes it, and I'll say she does get the first round finish win. All right, next we have Jake Collier going against Chris Barnett. We have Jake Collier, 33 years old, 6'3", with a 78.5-inch reach, 13-7 and 2-3 in his last 5 fights. Chris Barnett, 36 years old, 5'9", 75-inch reach, 22-8 and 3-2 in his last 5 fights. Never thought I would see one Jake Collier as a minus 450 favorite. 450. Open at minus 300. Money's coming on him, and money is still coming in on Jake Collier. Chris Barnett opened up plus 250. He's currently plus 350. I'll keep this one, fairly short here. So Chris Barnett, I don't think he's UFC caliber. He's 5'9" at heavyweight. 5'9", like. There are flyweights. There are flyweights that are taller than Chris Barnett, right? He's just undersized against everybody, and he's undersized in this fight. He's going to be at a 6-inch height disadvantage, a 3.5-inch reach disadvantage as well. Jake Collier, do I think he should be minus 450 against anybody? Not really, but Barnett has to be one of the worst fighters on the UFC roster in the heavyweight division. I mean, Chase Sherman's up there in terms of, very bad heavyweight fighters. You got Chase Sherman, you got Barnett, you got Jared Vandera, some very bad heavyweights. I think Barnett is probably the worst one, honestly. So, and on top of that, Jake Collier has actually shown some very good things. He's shown solid cardio for a heavyweight. He's shown very impressive volume as well. Outside of a spinning attack that lands for Barnett, Jake Collier, this should be Jake Collier all day. I think Jake Collier can either A, outpoint Barnett for 3 rounds. B, I think he can drown him in the volume. C, I think he can take down Chris Barnett and finish the fight. We saw him take down Chase Sherman and finish the fight shortly after. Chris Barnett, his takedown defense is atrocious. His get-up game, his ground game is atrocious. Jake Collier, if he gets on top, I think he finishes this fight. So Jake Collier hasn't really been a finisher thus far at the heavyweight division. He has, I think, 1 finish, and that was against Chase Sherman. But, I think Barnett is just as bad, if not worse, than Chase Sherman. So, Jake Collier inside the distance. Jake Collier, however he wants. If he wants to drown this guy in volume and finish him in the second or third round, he can. Barnett's cardio is very bad, and if he wants to take him down, I think it'll be an easy night at the office for Jake Collier. So Jake Collier, big favorite for a reason. Barnett's path to victory is just very, very small in my opinion. So Jake Collier to win. I'll say he wins by second round sub. All right, we have Jaimie Pickett going against Denis Tiuliulin. We have Jaimie Pickett, who is 34 years old, 6'2" with an 80-inch reach, 13-7 and 2-3 in his last 5 fights. Denis Tiuliulin, he is 34 years old, 6'1", a 77-inch reach, 10-6 and 3-2 in his last 5 fights. We'll take a look at the odds here, and Jaimie Pickett opened up -180, currently -128. Denis Tiuliulin, he opened up +155, currently +108. These guys were supposed to fight back in July. Supposed to happen July 9th on that Dos Anjos Fiziev card. And in that first fight, Pickett was like a -175 favorite. So this time around, we do have these odds much, much closer. And I do think this is a close fight, I guess you could say. I mean, picking Jaimie Pickett in a fight is very frustrating. But nothing is more frustrating than having a bet on Jaimie Pickett, and at the end of the night, you just want to take a baseball bat to your TV and break it, because this is a guy that, the physical tools are there. He's 6'2", 80-inch reach, very athletic guy, but that's about it. He just does nothing. He literally does nothing. He fights to not lose, it looks like. He goes in there, he doesn't throw anything on the feet. He goes in there, he wants to clinch up, hold you against the cage, occasionally take you down, but other than that, he's just doing nothing. So it's hard to pick a fighter, especially bet a fighter, who does nothing, and that's exactly what Jaimie Pickett does. At least with Denis, I don't think he's the best fighter in the world at all. He made his debut, I think it was on short notice, against Chimaev, who Chimaev's a very good prospect. And Chimaev was like -1,200 in that fight, and I was actually impressed with what I saw from Denis. He looked a lot better than I expected. He looked a lot better than I think most people expected. He was getting taken down, but it was hard to get him down. And it was hard to hold him down as well. And on the feet, he was having some success against Chimaev. Jaimie Pickett, his game plan is probably going to be to come out here and get the fight down to the mat. Jaimie Pickett's a brown belt in BJJ. He does go for takedowns. He does want to clinch against the cage. And I do think he could have some success in that fight. It's just not, Jaimie Pickett just doesn't have a ton of success, getting guys down to the mat and holding them there. And with the improvements I saw out of Denis Tiuliulin, I think Denis can stuff these takedowns for the most part, keep it on the feet for the most part. And when it's on the feet, we're going to have somebody in Jaimie Pickett who's going to do nothing. And we're going to have somebody in Denis who's going to go out there and try to take off Jaimie Pickett's head. So what a mess of a fight. I mean, I can't remember the last time a Jaimie Pickett fight has been exciting. I'm hoping Denis can make this somewhat exciting, and I'm actually going to pick Denis here as the dog to go out there and knock out Jaimie Pickett. Jaimie Pickett's been very tough, very durable. He has been knocked out twice or once, and he was knocked out by the Beverly Hills Ninja. And Denis, he has an 89% finish rate, all by knockout. I'll say Denis knocks this guy out, but this has potential to be one of the worst fights on the entire card. Jaimie Pickett fights are typically very terrible, and I expect this one to be pretty terrible as well, but I am hoping Denis does land a big shot, and I think he will have opportunities to do so. So give me Denis Tiuliulin to win, and give me him to win by, I'll say, first round knockout. All right, next we have Jailton Almeida going against Anton Turkalj. We got the Pleasure Man making his UFC debut here. We got a catch weight of 220 pounds. We'll start with Almeida in this fight. So Almeida, he is 31 years old, 6'3" with a 79-inch reach, 16-2 and 5-0 in his last 5 fights. The Pleasure Man, he is 26 years old, 6'4" with a 78-inch reach, 8-0 and 5-0 in his last 5 fights. We'll take a look at the odds, and so yeah, we have Jailton Almeida, and I kind of joked with somebody in my Discord. I was like, man, Jailton Almeida is going to be one of the biggest favorites of the year, and I was like, he's going to open up at like -1,500 or -1,600, and he actually did. He opened up at -1,500 here, but there has been money coming in on Anton Turkalj, and Jailton Almeida is currently -800, and I can kind of see why to an extent. There are some question marks really about both guys. We still don't know a ton about Almeida, like when he gets extended in that aspect. And when he does get extended, he's not winning. All 16 of his wins come under 1.5 rounds. So If the Pleasure Man is able to extend this fight, how does Almeida look down the stretch? Turkalj, I've been doing a lot of contender series this year and really digging deep into these matchups, and I did dig as deep as I could into the matchup with Turkalj on the contender series against Dos Santos, and Turkalj going out there and landing 11 takedowns was probably the least likely scenario in my head, because it's not really something he does. I mean, he goes for takedowns here or there outside of the contender series, but he's usually going out there and just knocking guys out under a round and a half. I think that was the very first time he's won a fight that went over, and that's the very first time he's ever been to decision in Turkalj, and honestly, he looked really good. Like I said, 11 takedowns completed, and he looked fresh, and he kind of joked at the end, said he was ready for 5 rounds in that fight, and his cardio looked like very good. I was kind of expecting him to maybe fall off a cliff after that round, but no, he had phenomenal cardio. So, I mean, Turkalj, this guy's pretty solid. It's just he's going against Jailton Almeida, and it's just really hard to picture this fight going any other way other than Jailton Almeida taking Turkalj down and pounding him out in the first round and getting him out of there with a ground and pound TKO, a submission, whatever he wants. But again, there's question marks. There's unknowns here. How good is Turkalj's takedown defense? I don't know. I haven't seen it. I've seen him taken down once, but it was as an amateur back in 2015, 2016, a long time ago. Obviously, he's made a ton of improvement since then. So, this could get interesting if it gets past the first round, but I'll say Jailton Almeida does get this done in the first round. That guy's a freaking beast. Phenomenal wrestling, great ground and pound. We don't see a ton of his striking, and he did say on the Contender Series that he could have been a pro boxer if he wanted to, and I find that very funny because in all of his fights, he's shooting a takedown within the first 10 seconds, and I do expect that here. But yeah, Almeida should get this guy out of here in the very first round. So I'll say Almeida wins. I'll say Almeida wins by a first round TKO. But I'm curious to see how the Pleasure Man looks going forward against a matchup that is not Jailton Almeida. So I'll take Almeida to win. Almeida to win by first round KO. All right, next we have this has got to be the best fight on the prelims here. We have Hakeem Dawodu going against Julian Erosa. We have Dawodu, who opened up as a minus 190 favorite, currently minus 220. And we have Erosa, who opened up plus 165, currently plus 185. And we have Dawodu, who is 31 years old, 5'8" with a 72-inch reach, 13-2-1 and 4-1 in his last 5 fights. Erosa, 33 years old, 6'1" with a 74.5-inch reach, 27-9 and 4-1 in his last 5 fights. So the reason I think this fight is going to be so exciting is because, tell me the last time Julian Erosa has been in a boring fight in the UFC, and off the top of my head, I just can't think of one. This guy is always in fun, exciting fights. That is, he's getting into wars every single time. He's getting into brawls. He's a guy that is not afraid to eat 1 or 2 or 6, actually 6.5 significant strikes per minute absorbed to give a couple. But yeah, he hits a lot. 6.5 significant strikes absorbed per minute, and a 48% striking defense, which is not good. He does have a negative significant strike differential of only minus 0.22, so he is giving a lot. He's landing 6.29 significant strikes per minute. So, but the problem with Erosa is that chin. I do think his chin is okay, I suppose, but when you're getting hit that many times, you're bound to get knocked out. And this guy's been knocked out a ton. He's been knocked out, I think, 4 times in the UFC, 5 overall. Got knocked out by Ishihara, got knocked out by Devontae Smith, got knocked out by Julio Arce, got knocked out by Sungwoo Choi, and I think he gets knocked out by Hakeem Dawodu here. Dawodu isn't much of a knockout guy, though, which makes it interesting. But when you watch this guy, he's good. He's a very good striker, and he hits hard. When you watch him, you see the power there. It's just the power has not translated at all. But then you kind of look at his opponents, Trezano, super tough. Tuhugov, super tough. Arce, super tough. Bokniak, super tough guy. Like, all these are super tough guys. Julian Erosa, I don't think he's as tough as those guys. I think the knockout is very live here for me and Hakeem Dawodu. He looked phenomenal in the Trizano fight. That's the best Dawodu's ever looked. He looked sharp. The power was there. And if he looks like that against Julian Erosa, I think, Dawodu is the better striker out of the two. And I think he's going to hit Erosa clean. And I think he knocks him out. On the flip side, if Erosa wins, it's probably Erosa getting the finish in his own right. Erosa's a very good finisher. He finished Sean Woodson in the third round after getting completely beat up. He finished Charles Jourdain in the third round after getting beat up. He finished Nate Landwehr. Like, when he's winning, he's finishing fights. He finished Jamal Emmers on the Contender Series. Was very close to finishing Steven Peterson a couple times. Both guys were very almost getting finishes in that fight. That was a back-and-forth war. But I think Hakeem knocks him out here. Rosa just too hittable for me, and Hakeem hits very hard. I think Hakeem knocks him out. I'll say in the second round, but this is one of the better fights on the entire card. Banger prelim, and my favorite prelim on the card. So give me Dawodu to win by second round knockout. All right, we'll start this main card now. Very good main card. Actually looking forward to, I think, all these matchups. We have Cutelaba going against Johnny Walker. We have Cutelaba, 28 years old, 6'1", with a 75-inch reach, 16-7-1, and 1-3-1 in his last 5 fights. Johnny Walker, 30 years old, 6'6", with an 82-inch reach, 18-7, and 1-4 in his last 5 fights. We'll take a look at the odds here. Cutelaba opened up as a -180 favorite, currently -220. Johnny Walker opened up +155. He's currently +185. And I'll be honest, I think this line makes no sense at all. I think this fight should be lined a straight pick'em because somebody's getting their ass shaved, and probably in the very first round and a half. Somebody's going to sleep here in this fight. And I get what people are saying here. Johnny Walker, he's looked horrible in his last few fights, but who is he looking horrible against? He's looking horrible against some very, very good fighters. He got knocked out by Jamal Hill, and I think that's why people are really down on Johnny Walker. He got knocked out by Jamal Hill. It was a meme. Everybody saw it. Weird knockout loss. But, that's Jamal Hill, right? Jamal Hill would completely destroy Cutelaba. He lost against Thiago Santos in a fight that, I don't know what the heck happened in that fight. I personally thought he very well could have won the fight, but just a weird fight. So he lost to Jamal Hill. He lost to Thiago Santos. He lost to Nikita Krylov. He lost to Corey Anderson, got knocked out. And those are his 4 losses there. Hill, Santos in a fight he very well could have won. Krylov in a fight that he was able to survive 3 rounds against a finisher in Krylov. Impressive. And then he got knocked out by Corey Anderson, got caught there. Cutelaba, he got finished by Ryan Spann in his last fight out. He got that draw against Dustin Jacoby in a fight where he looked really good up until gassing out. He lost against Magomed Ankalaev twice, lost against Glover Teixeira, lost against Jared Cannonier, and Misha Serkinov. So I think this is a close fight. Cutelaba, I suppose, has a path to victory here in terms of getting the fight down to the mat. Cutelaba's wrestling is very good, very impressive. It's just his control is non-existent. The reason he's getting 9, 10 takedowns a fight as of late is because his wrestling is good, his control is just not there. He took down Dustin Jacoby 9 times. Dustin Jacoby was able to pop back up every time. He took down Devin Clark 8 times. Devin Clark was able to pop back up a lot of times. He took down Ryan Spann 3 times in the matter of 2 minutes. Ryan Spann was able to pop back up. I just see the same thing with Johnny Walker. Johnny Walker is very, very hard to hold down. This guy's 6'6". This guy's huge. He's going to have a 5-inch height advantage. He's going to have a 7-inch reach advantage. I just struggle to see Cutelaba taking down Johnny Walker consistently for 15 minutes and holding him down. Johnny Walker is very hard to take down, very hard to hold down because of how big he is and strong he is. And we saw Krylov have a lot of trouble in that fight, taking down and holding down Walker. And I think Krylov's a much, much better grappler, control grappler than Cutelaba here. So with all that said, Cutelaba is very live to go out there and knock out a chinny Johnny Walker. Johnny Walker is as chinny as they come. But Johnny Walker is also just as live, in my opinion, to go out there and knock out as well a chinny Cutelaba here. So this is a close fight. I think somebody's getting served here. I'm going to take the dog here in Johnny Walker. He's a pretty decent-sized dog, and I think that is because a lot of people are down on Johnny Walker for getting memed, knocked out in his last fight against Jamal Hill. So I'm going to take Johnny Walker to win. I'm going to take him to win by first-round knockout, but somebody's very well getting knocked out here in this matchup. I just don't think that Cutelaba is going to go out there and wrestle Walker for 15 minutes. If he does that, I think he's going to gas out, and I think Walker can finish him late. We saw Cutelaba gas out in the Jacoby fight, and if he gasses out against Walker, Walker's going to make him pay here. So give me a Walker for the upset, but he could very well get knocked out. But somebody's getting knocked out in this fight. All right. Irene Aldana going against Macy Chiasson. We have, Macy Chiasson. She is 31 years old, 5'11", with a 72-inch reach, 8-2, and 3-2 in her last 5 fights. Irene Aldana, 34 years old, 5'9", with a 68.5-inch reach, 13-6, and 3-2 in her last 5 fights. So this is one of the very last fights I've looked into for obvious reasons. I just didn't think I'd have a ton of interest in this fight, but after looking into it, I do like Irene Aldana a decent amount here. Aldana opened up -156, currently -160. Macy Chiasson opened up +136, currently +140. So Irene Aldana, we've not seen her in a while. It's been a year and a month since she did beat Knutsakai. Looked phenomenal in that fight. This is a fight where I think Aldana is going to look really good here. I mean, she has an 84% takedown defense. I think that is key here. 84% takedown defense. She is very hard to take down. She is very hard to hold down. She is very hard to be controlled as well. Macy Chiasson, to have success in this fight, she's going to have to use her size like she does in every fight. She's huge for the division. She's going to have a 2-inch height advantage. She's going to have a 4.5-inch reach advantage. She's going to have to use her size, hold Aldana against the cage, and take her down. It's just Aldana's takedown defense is phenomenal. It's something she's also been improving on as well. I know she got taken down 5 times by Holly Holm, and Holly Holm looked phenomenal in that fight. That was the best we've ever seen Holly Holm look. But Aldana's gonna have a massive advantage here on the feet. It's just not even gonna be close. I love the striking of Aldana. I love the power that she's been showing as of late as well. Knocking out Ketlen Vieira in the first round is not easy to do. Knocking out Knutsakai in the first round is not something easy to do. On the feet, it's going to be Aldana all day. Chiasson needs to close distance, needs to push Aldana against the cage, and needs to take her down. And I think that's going to be easier said than done here. I think Aldana is going to be able to stuff these takedowns, keep the fight at range for the most part. And like I said, on the feet, it's just Aldana, and it's Aldana all day, every day. Chiasson 46% striking defense. Chiasson only a 33% takedown accuracy. And this is going to be a pretty, decent sized step up, going from, Norma Dumont in her last fight. She beat Marin Renault. She beat Shanna Young, beat Sarah Moore-Ass, lost to Lena Landsberg. Whereas Aldana, she's fighting Holly Holm. She's fighting Ketlen Vieira. She's fighting, Knutsakai. She's fighting the much better competition here. So, I like Aldana here. And I like her to win this fight by decision. Potential finish here. Chiasson's never been knocked out, but with the power Aldana's been showing lately, a finish wouldn't completely shock me. So, I like Aldana. I think she's the better striker by a mile. I think she has a lot more power. I think she has the better cardio. And Chiasson's path to victory is just using her size and, pushing the fight against the cage. And I don't know if that's going to be enough here. So give me Aldana to win. Give me Aldana to win by decision. Should be an interesting fight, I suppose. All right, next we have Kevin Holland going against Daniel Rodriguez. We have Kevin Holland, 29 years old, 6'3" with an 81-inch reach, 23-7, 2-2-1, no contest in his last 5 fights. No contest coming against Kyle Dawkins. Daniel Rodriguez, 35 years old, 6'1" with a 74-inch reach, 16-2, and 4-1 in his last 5 fights. Kevin Holland opened up -150, currently -190. D-Rod opening up +130, currently +165. So this is matchmaking where, obviously I love the matchup, but I'm kind of upset with the matchup because I like both guys a ton. D-Rod, this guy has been surprising a lot of people, including me. Came into the UFC and didn't really expect much out of him. I believe he made his debut against Tim Means, and Tim Means was like -300, something crazy like that, like -250, and it was in Tim Means' hometown, I believe, and D-Rod went in there and finished him. And since then, he's been looking phenomenal. I know he shows that one loss against Nicholas Dalby, and I thought D-Rod won that fight 30-27, honestly, 29-28 at the very least. Probably one of the biggest robberies I have ever seen. I typically never call a fight a robbery ever, but that was just a clear robbery, clear as day. D-Rod outlands Nicholas Dalby 83-50 and obviously landing the harder shots as well, outlands him in every single round by a mile. He should be undefeated in the UFC. And yeah, Tony Weeks. What are you doing, Tony Weeks? 30-27 for Nicholas Dalby, says Tony Weeks. You got Derek Cleary in there as well. I'm surprised Sal D'Amato was not on that score in that fight as well. But anyway, he's been looking very good. But this is a tough matchup for one Daniel Rodriguez here. Kevin Holland is going to be much bigger. He's going to have a 7-inch reach advantage, and that's significant for me. I think the better striker is Kevin Holland in this matchup, and Daniel Rodriguez's striking's good. He throws a ton of volume. He's actually landing 8.06 significant strikes per minute with a positive 2.68 significant strike differential. Phenomenal numbers. It's just, who is he doing that against? He's doing that against a very hittable Gabe Green. He's doing that against, Mike Perry. He's doing it against Preston Parsons, Kevin Lee. Kevin Holland is going to be the best striker that D-Rod has fought in the UFC and by a decent margin. And just a 7-inch reach disadvantage is just a tough ask for D-Rod to come in here and have a ton of success on the feed. I think he'll have his moments. I think he will land some volume, but the harder shots will be from the Holland side. And I guess this could be close, I suppose. Daniel Rodriguez, he's as tough as they come. What does he have? 18 professional fights, never been knocked out, never been subbed. Holland, 30 professional fights. He's never been knocked out. Both guys have phenomenal chins. I think it's going to be a back-and-forth war on the feet. And I think that 7-inch reach advantage is going to be too much for Kevin Holland here. I think he's the better technical striker as well. I think he has the more power, and I think he does win this fight by decision. I thought initially that, D-Rod could potentially come in here and, mix in takedowns, but that's just not D-Rod's game. He's averaging less than a takedown per 15 minutes. He got a takedown against Gabe Green, I think, but outside of that, in the UFC, 0 takedowns against Means, 0 against Grant, 0 against Dalby, 0 against Perry, 0 against Parsons, 0 against Lee. It's just not his game. It's not his game. So yeah, it's Kevin Holland for me here. I'll say Kevin Holland by decision. I think I think D-Rod is definitely tough enough to eat a lot of these shots, get this fight extended, and make it competitive at times, but I think Holland gets it done by decision. All right, co-main event here. We have the Leech, Li Jingliang, going against Tony Ferguson. We have the Leech. He is 34 years old, 6 foot with a 72-inch reach, 19-7, and 3-2 in his last 5 fights. Tony Ferguson, 38 years old, 5'11", with a 76.5-inch reach, 25-7, and 1-4 in his last 5 fights. So we take a look at the odds here. Never thought I'd see this in my life, but we have the Leech as a big favorite. Opening at minus 275, currently minus 310. Ferguson opening up plus 235, currently plus 260. And initially, I thought, Tony Ferguson, legend. The guy is fan favorite, obviously one of my favorite fighters. You take a look at who he's lost to. Michael Chandler, top 5 guy. Beneil Dariush, I believe he's ranked number 6th. Charles Oliveira, champion. Justin Gaethje, top 5 guy in the division. But that is at 155, right? This is at 170. So I will say it's a step down in competition going from these top 5 guys or top 5-ish guys, these last 4 fights, to a guy that's, I believe, ranked 14th in the welterweight division in the Leech here. But it's also a jump up in weight class, which, guys hit much harder here at welterweight, and the Leech has a ton of power, which scares the crap out of me for a guy like Tony Ferguson, who has taken a ton of damage throughout his career. He's always been a guy to take one, to give one. And, the Justin Gaethje fight, I think, took a lot out of him. He took an absolute beating in that fight against Justin Gaethje. Gaethje finished him in that 5th round. I thought that fight could have been stopped much sooner. He got finished by Michael Chandler. Knockout of the year against Michael Chandler. Chandler knocked him out bad in that 2nd round. And you take a look at Ferguson. He is now 38 years old, 38 and a half. He's coming up a weight class to welterweight. He's going to be undersized here by an inch. And just the power of the Leech scares me. The Leech hits like an absolute truck. I think the Leech does hit harder than Michael Chandler. I think he does hit harder than like Beneil Dariush, obviously. And when Leech is winning fights, he's knocking guys out. Knocked out Muslim Salikov, which, by the way, That was the first time Muslim Salikov's ever been knocked out in 21 fights. He knocked out Ponzinibbio, which, by the way, I believe that was the first time Ponzinibbio's ever been knocked out, and second time he's ever been knocked out. But regardless, Ponzinibbio has a chin on him. He knocked out Elizeu Zaleski dos Santos, who has a chin on him as well. He's knocking out these very tough guys. Zaleski dos Santos, Ponzinibbio, Salikov are all very, very tough guys. Knocked out David Zawada, knocked out Zach Otto, knocked out Bobby Nash. I mean, he's knocking out all these guys when he's winning fights. Knocked out Diego Lima back in the day. This guy has a ton of power, and I think Ferguson has taken way too much damage. He's 38 and a half. He's coming up a weight class. He just got knocked out like not too long ago. What was that, in May? He knocked out three months ago, brutally. One of the most brutal knockouts you'll ever see. And he's coming back against a power puncher in the Leech. I mean, it's just hard to see the Leech not knocking out Tony Ferguson here. If this fight does go the distance, I do think it could be competitive. I think Tony Ferguson has a lot of tools here that, could cause some problems, to the Leech. I think Ferguson's striking is very good. I think he has a ton of volume. Obviously has that slick grappling game as well. But at some point, the Leech is going to land a hard shot. And the chances are he probably knocks out Ferguson. I know Ferguson has that, legendary toughness, that legendary durability, but at 38 years old, up a weight class, how's that going to pan out for him? I think the Leech knocks out Tony Ferguson, and I think he does it in the first or second round. I think it comes early here. And I think, sadly, this might be the last time we ever see Tony Ferguson. He's on a 4-fight losing streak. Mind you, they're very good guys, but if he loses this fight, this is going to be five losses in a row. So, I was tempted initially, somewhat, I suppose, in Tony Ferguson at that price tag. But after looking into it, I think Tony Ferguson is done. I think he is washed. He looked washed in the Gaethje fight. And after the Gaethje fight, it just went all downhill. I mean, he's looked worse and worse and worse each time we've seen him. And I think he gets knocked out here against the Leech. So give me the Leech to win. I'll say the Leech by first round knockout. What a great fight. What a sad fight. But I'll take the Leech to knock out Tony Ferguson here. Speaking of sad fight, we have the main event here. Khamzat Chimaev going against Nate Diaz. We have Chimaev, who is 28 years old, 6'2", with a 75-inch reach, 11-0, 5-0 in his last 5 fights. Nate Diaz, 37 years old, 6 foot, with a 76-inch reach, 20-13, and 2-3 in his last 5 fights. We'll take a look at the odds here. We have Chimaev opening at minus 1,100, currently minus 1,800 on BetOnline Sportsbook. Nick Diaz opening up plus 775, currently plus 900. Chimaev, the biggest favorite on the card, and one of the biggest favorites of the year against Diaz. This fight doesn't make a ton of sense to me. I think that, there could have been a bunch of other matchups that I'd like to see, Chimaev again. I'd like to see Chimaev against maybe Colby Covington, maybe, Kamaru Usman, and even Leon Edwards. I'd like to see Chimaev fight, somebody up in that top 5. This fight doesn't make a ton of sense. I mean, it's a big name for Chimaev, but really, I don't know. It's this fight's unfair, to be honest. I mean, Chimaev, I think he could win this fight however he wants. If he wants to strike with Nate Diaz, I think he can hurt him bad on the feet. I did not like how Diaz was reacting to the power of Jorge Masvidal. Masvidal was hurting him bad. I think Chimaev hits much, much harder than Jorge Masvidal. Nate Diaz, throughout his career, he's never had good takedown defense. Chimaev is going to take him down at will, take him down with little to no resistance. And if Chimaev gets on top, I think it's going to be ugly. I mean, Chimaev, very good ground and pound, very good submission game. I think he's really going to hurt Nate anywhere this fight goes. And it's really hard to see Nate Diaz surviving 10 minutes of this fight. Diaz is as tough as they come. Very, very tough guy. Very, very hard to submit. Very, very hard to knock out. He's only been finished 3 times in 33 fights. But, I mean, Chimaev is just so much younger. He's in his prime. The guy's super dangerous. It's just hard seeing Diaz lasting 10 minutes in this fight. So, I think Chimaev takes him down in the first round. And hurts him very bad in the first round. Maybe Nate survives to the second, and then that second round, I think it takes him down again, and I think he just lets off a ton of ground and pound. I think a doctor's stoppage is in play here after that second. I think a cut stoppage is in play here. I think Chimaev hurts Diaz bad here. So yeah, I mean, Chimaev, no hot take here. He's minus 1,800. But he's minus 1,800 for a reason. I know there's a lot of people taking a shot on Nate, and it's just wishful thinking, in my opinion. I mean, I just don't think Diaz has much of a chance here, outside of Chimaev slipping on a banana peel. So yeah, I mean, Chimaev for me, Chimaev to win by, I'll say, second round TKO, and I think he does get Diaz out of there within the first 10 minutes of the fight. All right. We did it, guys. Broke down all 13 fights here. Thank you so much for watching. Please leave a like. Subscribe to the channel. I'm going live Friday, 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time after the weigh-in. Going to be going live Saturday for Best Bet as well. Be sure to check out dfsbythenumbers.com. A ton of content being put out there. I am in the process of finishing up my full card and Best Bet article. And then, of course, some more content coming out throughout the week. So, yeah, guys, should be a fun card. UFC 279. Interesting card. Looking forward to it. Best of luck, guys. We'll talk to you soon. And, yeah, see you.